Welcome back to the channel. This is Roberto with Full Curl Precision. Got a couple of things going to do tonight. It's going to be not too long of a video, but anyway, real quick, again, help us get to 200. When we get to 200 subs, we will be doing a giveaway. So please like, subscribe, share, and comment. We'll be doing a hat, a shirt, and one of your options of ammo box. We have hundreds, 20s, and 10s. And yeah, we do a pretty good job of trying to making them look good. So anyway, so getting into tonight's video, we're going to be working on another project. So my goal ultimately is to be able to come up with 3 new 27 calibers that will be starting from affordable brass. Okay, so I'm already starting off with the 270 Winchester, so that way you can have a case that will be affordable to turn into the new case. And I got a couple more. One is going to be a short action. So besides the 277 Sig Fury, there's no standard size case that's in 27 caliber that's commercially available. I'd like to be able to change that. So I have an idea and I'm going to work with it. Let me turn the camera around. And this is going to be my parent case, the 708. So I've been going through, and this is going to be a very solid option. Now, the reason for this is very simple. To be able to develop the new 27 caliber version of this, it's easy to be able to develop them out of affordable casings. And the overall cost of 7mm 08 is very affordable. So it's going to make it easy and cost effective to be able to form your own brass. And the best part about it is it's not just this, because it's part of the 308 family, right? So let's say you're having a hard time finding 7mm weight brass, you can neck down 308 and create this new brass. So you have a couple options. So if you already have a stash of 308 brass, cool. All you need is a set of dies to be able to neck it down. So with different bushings and so on and so forth, make your own brass, and then you fire form it to the new shoulder angle, and you're set to go. My goal with this is to have a max weight of 165 grains shoot out of it. So you can go a little heavier, but most of your bullet weights are going to be as your standard 270s, 130s, 140s, 150s, right in there. So the best part about it is you'll have something that will perform like a standard 270, but short action. So because I've been looking, and there's really not that much available. And people are like, well, there's a 27-08. Yeah, when was the last time you saw, a rifle chambered in that? Or when was the last time you saw ammunition available in that? I haven't. So I get that people talk about a Wildcat, but it's not commercially available. And that's kind of the part of the problem. And so I want to be able to address that and be able to have something for those who are more recoil sensitive, the guys who are just big into the short actions, something that can also fit in an AR-10, and basically provide 7mm weight type performance, but a little flatter shooting. That's the concept. So that's why I'm doing this. And honestly, it's a lot of fun. Let's face it, we're not doing this unless we want to get some joy out of it too. So there's that. But another thing that came up for tonight was a discussion that a guy was just, I don't know what was he was on, but he had this mindset that the 30-06 is flatter shooting than a 270 when you have the same weight bullets. And I'm just like, that's not how physics work. It's very simple. Aerodynamics. It's not about it's not just about velocity. It's aerodynamics. Yes, you can push with the same. If you use the same weight bullet of a 30-06, when pushed to pressures, you will have a faster muzzle velocity than a 270 with the same weight bullet. And I've explained it before, but it's very simple. Your bearing surface on a 27 caliber is greater than that on a 30 caliber, and it's because it's the same weight bullet, right? So if you put it on a scale, it weighs the same, but the shape is different. And so when you have more of a stubby type bullet, you have less surface contact on your barrel, so less bearing surface, therefore faster velocities because you have less resistance. So the 270 is going to have a little bit more resistance out of the barrel, but as anyone who's done even just a basic study on bullets can tell you, that the slightly narrower bullet with a higher BC is going to maintain its energy and trajectory better than the one that's shaped like, like a truck. It's not that, the 30-06 is necessarily a fat bullet, but it is considerably less aerodynamic in a 150 grain bullet as it is to any 270 with a 150 grain bullet. And so by the time you add that up into consideration, there's a number of factors that go with that. And he also said now he was getting 2,900 feet per second with a 180 grain bullet. Is it possible? Well, maybe. I don't know his exact set of circumstances. I don't know his barrel, his powder charge, all these things, how high he's pushing it. If he's using the old standard of 62,000 PSI, can he get that? Well, nice part about it is that's why I use GRT so much. It gives me a little bit of an idea. So I went with, let me turn this around. So again, 30-06, so using 62,000 PSI, 24-inch barrel, and a 180 grain nozzle partition, using a very common powder, H4350, which is fantastic, and pushing it, 58.5 grains. You're right there. You're pushing it up there. There's a little bit of room for more pressure. You got 2846. So I rounded up because it's 0.9. That's a really good velocity. So the question is, what happens if you were to change that and go up to 65? Can you get 2,900 feet per second? We're sticking with the same powder, and we're going to go and say 59.5 grains. I'd say you can. 2895 is right there. It's a little hot. Almost 60, 63, 382 in your PSI there. So it's definitely hot. But yeah, you're right there. So yeah, I'm not saying he's lying. But here's the thing. Are you going to get the same type of trajectory out of something like this? Well, let's go through and let's see. What would be a slightly better, higher BC bullet in a 180? Let's try a Hornady. Hornadys don't seem to be too bad. Let's go with an SST. Oh, well, that pushes a little over pressure. Isn't that interesting? So we'll have to turn this down a little bit. And we will go down to 58. A little low. So let's go 58.2. Well, it's not quite, but it's not far off, 2877. So maybe his barrel allows him to do that. So here's the thing, though. Yes, I know for a fact that you can. I have no doubt that he can get 2,900 feet per second because the data kind of backs it up. There's a bunch of variations that can allow him to get to that point. Elevation and so on and so forth. But are you going to be as flat shooting even with that? Well, the answer in short is no. Now we're going to reset this. So to start off with, we're going to do hand load. We're going to do bullet weight of 180. It was saying that the BC is 0.480, which is actually a pretty solid BC. That's not bad. So, let's see. We're going to go 2877 and 0.480. Okay. Scope height, 2.00. Zero range, 200. Increments, we're going to do 100 yards. We're going to do the elevation based upon my elevation, which is 5,000. And we're going to go max of 500 yards. So if you calculate it out, this out, it's actually not that bad. All right, so you're maintaining. We're going to go straight out to 500 yards to keep it fairly simple. You got 38.8 inches of drop, 15.2 inches of drift, 2126 feet per second, and 1806 as far as your energy, right? Okay. Now we're going to go back and we're going to give you the data that I'm getting off of some of my personal hand loads with my 270. And the guy said that these are his hand loads. So we're going to change this up. So a considerably lighter bullet compared to this, 150. I'm getting 3,016 feet per second. Okay. 0.591 is my BC because I have a much higher BC. Same other factors. Calculate. So straight out to 500 yards. So instead of 38.8 inches of drop, you got 32.7 inches of drop. So it's a little flatter, but again, not significant. You're only talking about 6 inches of elevation. That's an easy adjustment. But I have 4 inches less of drift. Instead of 15.2, it's 11 inches of drift, so less. I'm maintaining much higher velocity. Instead of the 2100 range, I'm at 2377. And instead of 1802, as the other one was, 1882. So here's the thing. I'm not disagreeing that the 30-06, when loaded hot with a 180 grain, isn't a significant powerhouse. But out to 500 yards, it is significantly flatter, and it's actually matching energy. Actually, it's surpassing energy. It matches energy at somewhere between 300 and 400 yards, and it's passing energy at 500 because it's maintaining it, right? Now, I get it. Not everything you're going to be shooting is going to be at 500 yards. However, that doesn't mean that the 30-06 is somehow that much better with a 180 grain bullet. It's just your matter of preference. Both are tremendous cartridges. I have nothing but respect for the 30-06. But the concept that some get so stuck on that this cartridge is so much better than this one because, that's their preference and they happen to love it. I don't know. That's fine. I mean, yeah, within 300 yards, I have no doubt that the 30-06 is going to smack an elk a little harder than the 270. But that doesn't mean that the 270 isn't inadequate when it comes to taking elk out to these ranges. It is very adequate, and I have no problem using it, and I have used it, and it does its job. So that's just, I just wanted to address that for anybody who ever has that mentality. I don't think the 270 is better than the 30-06. It's just different. I think that that's how that goes. Same thing when it comes to 30-06 compared to 270. They're really good. They both really are. But the 270 is definitely a better long-range cartridge than the 30-06 is, especially when you're talking about loading it in older rifles that can't handle the pressures. So this was pushed to 65,000 PSI. A lot of rifles, the older ones, can't. And honestly, I wouldn't want to push a 30-06 with a 180 grain bullet at 2,900 feet per second. That's just insane in the recoil, especially if you're talking a lightweight, like, Ruger M77, with a walnut stock and those dinky little red recoil pads. You might as well have nothing and just hold it straight to the wood. No, thank you. So anyway, that's all I have for tonight. Please like, subscribe, share, comment, and we'll talk to you again.